Our top story tonight on Gravitas is about the secret nuclear meetings between Iran and Russia aimed at securing Russian support for Iran's nuclear ambitions. According to a report by the Times UK, Ali Larijani, a senior advisor to Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, has been making secret trips to Moscow. And these visits reportedly are not just diplomatic, they are strategic. I'm sure you have a lot of questions at this point. Let's just break all of this down for you. Larijani, a trusted regime loyalist, a former parliamentary speaker, is also Tehran's main nuclear negotiator, with a reputation for getting things done. In fact, his covert visits to Moscow are reportedly aimed at not just securing Russian support for Iran's nuclear ambitions, but also bolster the country's air defense systems. And you see, the timing of these developments is very interesting, to say the least. Iran appears to be navigating a delicate balance. On one hand, it is seeking diplomacy with the West, while reportedly strengthening ties with Moscow. These secret meetings are reportedly significant because it reflects a growing convergence of interests between Tehran and Moscow. Remember, both countries have largely been isolated by the West and have faced multiple Western-imposed sanctions. So, together, they seem to be forging a partnership that could potentially alter the geopolitical landscape. Iran's economy is reportedly under immense pressure, while its influence in West Asia has been impacted with the weakening of Hezbollah and Hamas, as well as the ouster of key ally Bashar al-Assad from Syria. For Tehran, aligning with Russia offers a way to modernize its military, rebuild its air defense systems, and most importantly, gain an edge in nuclear technology. While for Russia, the equation is slightly different. Iran has been a key supplier of drones and missiles to Moscow in the Russia-Ukraine war. And this military trade has reportedly deepened their ties and raises questions about whether Moscow is now more willing to actually support Iran's nuclear ambitions. Despite previously opposing nuclear proliferation in the region, and according to Western intelligence, Moscow may be willing to share sensitive nuclear expertise with Tehran, a possibility further bolstered by decades of Russian-Iranian cooperation, including Russia's past provision of nuclear fuel for Iran's power reactors. In fact, according to experts, even short visits by Iranian scientists to Russian facilities could have significant advantages, such as them gaining advanced nuclear knowledge that could perhaps pave the way for smaller, more sophisticated nuclear weapons. Meanwhile, as per reports, Iran is also eyeing Russia's Sukhoi Su-35 fighter jets to enhance its air force. Reportedly, these have already been purchased by Tehran, signaling its intent to modernize its military capabilities significantly. At the same time, Tehran also wants to rebuild its air defense systems with Russia's S-300 air defense missile systems, several of which were reportedly impacted by Israel during the round of attacks and counterattacks that occurred between the two countries last year. And here's where things get more complex. As we told you earlier, Iran is also engaging with Western powers and is set to resume talks with officials of the E3 group comprising UK, France and Germany. In case you weren't aware, E3 is an informal foreign and security cooperation arrangement between the UK, Germany and France. These discussions reportedly aim to revive the 2015 nuclear deal, offering Iran relief from Western-imposed sanctions in exchange for restrictions on its nuclear program, raising questions over whether Tehran is playing a double game. You see, because on one hand, Iran is willing to cap uranium enrichment at 60% and readmit inspectors from the International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA, back into the country, while on the other, its covert dealings with Moscow suggest a pursuit of an alternative, perhaps more ambitious goal of becoming a nuclear power. And the timing of all of this is critical. With Donald Trump's return to presidency looming, Tehran perhaps knows it has a small window. Trump is reportedly against Iran's nuclear ambitions and has threatened consequences over its attempts at nuclear proliferation. And so when Trump returns to power, will he be able to persuade Putin to restrict the Iran nuclear deal is the question. Putin's calculations may hinge on Russia's strategic interests, particularly its reliance on Iranian drones and missiles. Iran's President Masoud Pezeshkian is reportedly scheduled to travel to Russia on the 17th of January to sign cooperation agreements. So will Moscow risk this partnership to appease Washington? As things unfold, the stakes could not be higher. Iran's covert overtures to Russia, its overtures to the West, and the looming U.S. leadership change make for a rather precarious balancing act. And the outcome of all of this could potentially reshape things, not just for West Asia, but for the entire world. Shifting focus now to Taiwan, it says that it has seen a threefold surge in suspected Chinese spy cases amid escalating intimidation by China. New data released by Taiwan Security Bureau, in fact, saying that the number of individuals prosecuted for Chinese espionage had risen from 16 in 2021 to 64 in 2024. Of those 64 charged, 15 were military veterans and 28 were active service members. Targets of Chinese infiltration included military units, government agencies, and local associations. According to reports, the number of prosecutions last year was the highest seen in a decade. For years, Taiwan security agencies have warned about Beijing's growing attempts to infiltrate its armed forces. Taipei has warned of China's espionage activities, particularly efforts to bribe military officers in exchange for national secrets. According to Taipei, Chinese agents have allegedly tried to establish contacts with criminal gangs and local temples in Taiwan. And they have also tried to set up underground banks to recruit military personnel, as well as China-friendly groups in Taiwan. According to Taipei, some of the suspected spies were tasked to serve as agents of sabotage and raise China's flag in the event of a Chinese invasion. Others were asked to gather intelligence so Beijing can build a sniper team for an assassination assignment. But we are not surprised. Here on GRAVITAS, after all, we've been telling you about how China has increased its intimidation tactics over Taiwan recently. Remember, Beijing claims the self-governing island as its own territory and has vowed to take control of it by force if necessary. And this is despite having never controlled it. The Taiwanese government has also repeatedly rejected China's sovereignty claims and emphasized that Taiwan's future can only be decided by its people. But that has not deterred China from its continued aggression over Taiwan. In recent years, China has also launched several large-scale military drills, and more frequently than ever, it has raised alarm over the possible deployment of gray zone tactics, which basically are tactics that fall below the threshold of war. Earlier this month, Taiwan officials suspected that a Chinese vessel may have been responsible for damage to an undersea internet cable. It only underscored concerns on the island about vulnerabilities that could be exploited by China in so-called gray zone operations. In December, China also fielded its largest regional maritime deployment in decades, including multiple formations of Chinese naval and coast guard ships. These ships were deployed in regional waters and around the Taiwan Strait. Shifting focus now to a debate raging across India. It's about work-life balance. You might already know what this is about. This is about the remarks made by the L&T chief when he advocated for a 90-hour work week and mandatory Sunday work, dismissing time at home with the quip, quote-unquote, how long can you stare at your wife? It sparked a lot of outrage, also laughter in a way. His remark missed the point entirely, is what a lot of people are saying. Why can't you work, love your wife at the same time? Some asked. What's wrong with wanting both? That's the question many are asking after the L&T chief's comment. Have a look at these social media posts. From corporate bosses to celebrities, content creators, they are joining hands to poke fun at the idea. It sparked a major meme fest. Stare at your wife memes have flooded social media platforms. They are calling it the work-wife balance. Mahindra Group Chairman Anand Mahindra also weighed in on this entire work week, 90-hour work week debate. He suggested that the focus should be on quality rather than quantity. Talking about the stare at wife remark, the Mahindra Group Chairman said, and I'm quoting here, "My wife is wonderful. I love staring at her," quote unquote. Serum Institute of India CEO Adar Poonawalla also took to social media echoing Anand Mahindra's sentiment. He said, and I'm quoting here, "Yes, even my wife thinks I am wonderful. She loves staring at me on Sundays. Quality of work over quantity always. Work-life balance," quote unquote. Other corporate bosses like Varun Alag, Puneet Kumar posted pictures of themselves staring at their wives. Because here's the thing, the desire to spend time with your loved ones is not a problem. In fact, isn't that the very foundation of a balanced, happy life in a way? And what's wrong with someone wanting a little bit of balance in their lives? Why mock balance? Also, why mock wives? Why do we still hear the same old wife jokes in discussions about productivity, for that matter? The casual remark about how long can you stare at your wife feels not just outdated, but also offensive. It's 2025. Wives are not just wives anymore. Today, wives work equally hard. They've been doing that, in fact, both in and outside the home. They are not just waiting to be stared at. They are building lives and careers as well. Ultimately, productivity over long hours is the future. The idea that more hours means better results has been debunked time and again. In fact, companies that focus on efficiency and employee well-being are the ones that are leading the charge in innovation and performance. Time with family is not a waste of time. It's the entire point of doing what you do, isn't it? Whether it's your partner, your children, just yourself, anybody for that matter, investing in personal relationships, personal time, makes you more fulfilled and in turn more productive. Time and again, studies have shown that this is true. Maybe instead of staring at office walls, we should spend more time staring at the things and the people that we love. We would say that balance is not a luxury, it is a necessity.